Oh, hey, welcome to the Black Pill. Let's talk about donuts and existential crisis. The problem with saying yes to one thing is you are thereby saying no to everything else. Irv Yalom makes this point at least 63 times in his writing. I made that number up because I'm too lazy, really, to track down any or all of the times that he said it, so I picked a number. 63 is a good number. Big enough to be implausible, so you know I'm joking. Not so big as to overdo it. I've told you a million times not to exaggerate. Picking 63, I said no, of course, to 62 and 61 and 64 and 65, and really an infinite number of other numbers. Ah, what a mess. I hate choosing things. Most people, they like to have choices. Not too many, just about 8 is ideal. I hate it. I hate it. I want to know where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do when I get there. I go to the grocery store, I need toothpaste. I hate buying toothpaste because there's 63 varieties to choose from and I have no criteria on which to operate. It's overstimulating. I wind up picking something and running for it. Buying pants is the same. I can't even remember to try them on or sometimes even check the size. More often than not, I wind up taking them back. Choosing is hard, and that brings us to donuts. There's a boutique donut shop in my neighborhood, Amy's it's called. I stop there when I'm on the way out to the lake to not catch any trout. There are 63 varieties of donut, crazy creations. Like it's a cupcake shop in the big city. Cupcakes topped with candy or cotton candy or blueberries or even bacon. God, I love those donuts, but I don't want to choose. I pick the Heath Bar donut. I say no to 62 other donuts. The Boston cream, for example, or the traditional cake. Oh, those are good though. Pick the maple bar. Yeah, skip the M&M. My approach to this is to not choose. I ask the nice person behind the counter what their favorite donut is. They often look stunned by the question or flattered that their opinion matters or puzzled by my motives. You want to know what I think? They ask if I'm sure I want them to choose. Everyone wants to choose. That's the fun, isn't it? To have a huge pile of choices to make? No, is my answer. No, it sucks. They're all good. That's the thing. We're talking about donuts. What if you don't like it? I'll like it, I promise. It's a donut. They're good donuts. Whatever you choose for me is going to be fine because they're donuts and you guys are great at making donuts. And I'm always right. About this anyway, I'm always right. Sometimes they make a safe choice, sometimes a risky one. The bacon donut was delicious. Maple bacon. But they all taste good because donuts taste good. And I didn't have to say no to any of the donuts. I just had to say no to choosing one. Sometimes I find myself in a restaurant, not often because my jobs pay me poverty wages, but the same approach works there. What is your favorite menu item? The people who bring your food generally are obliging and make good choices. I think it helps that I think all food is like donuts. If you're good at making it, it's good. And like I even like food that I don't like. I'm like I'm like I'm like Data on Star Trek, and he turns on his emotion chip for the first time, goes down to 10 forward, gets a disgusting beverage from Guinan, and he drinks it, and he has this horrible look on his face, like, oh, that's disgusting, and then a big shit-eating grin, and he's like, I hate this. Guinan's like, another? Yes, please. I even like food I don't like. Uh, so you get your donut. You get your donut and you go sit in the car, and you're not going to wait to get it home, are you? No, of course not. You're in the car eating your donut, and like, there's two mindsets you could be in here. One mindset is you could be mad because of the 62 donuts you had to leave behind untasted, or you could be happy about the donut that you have in your hand right at this minute. Um, I'm trying to tell you something about people, man. By the time you're age 5, you have about 100 billion neurons in your brain. And by the time you're 40, You're down to about 40 billion neurons in your brain because neurons don't encode information, neural connections encode information. And what evolution has given us is this not blank slate, but a massive slate that's mostly blank, way more neurons than you'll ever in your life need. So you can make any number of diverse neural connections to encode information depending on, where you live is to do with how many languages and which languages you need and what sort of housing you'll have to occupy and what sort of work you'll have to do to survive and what sort of animals you'll need to eat and so forth, right? So we have this massive, massive potential. And when you're 2 or 3 or 5 or something, like, what could you be? What could you grow up to be? Could you grow up to be the president? Could you grow up to be a nuclear scientist, a ballerina, a hockey player, a mill worker, a dentist, a dental hygienist, a bricklayer? You know, your potential is hardly limited. But the older you get, the more that your potential has been pared, pruned away. The process of losing neurons is called developmental pruning. And by the time you're an adult, you're who you are. Most of those excess neurons have been shed because they were excess. And synapses, the connections between neurons, also take up space and metabolic energy, right? And so the potential you with this wild excess of neural material has been replaced by the actual you that's full of encoded information. And like if you're 42 and just deciding that you want to be a gymnast or a ballet dancer or something, man, you got to go back in time until you were 2 or 3 years old, right? It's very difficult, nearly impossible to become a concert level musician, a concert pianist, first chair in the Philharmonic Orchestra on your cello or something, starting at age 40. You have to go way back in time to when you had more developmental plasticity. And when you start learning about this, it can be very depressing. It's like you're sitting in the car though, and you have the donut in your hand, and they gave you the chocolate cake, old fashioned. Oh my god, that's a good donut. But instead of just like putting that in your mouth and being happy, you're thinking about that Boston cream or the Homer Simpson. Oh my god, the Homer Simpson. You know? When your potential has given away to an actuality, the only reason to mourn that potential is if you're unhappy with the actual. It can be a long, difficult process to learn to like yourself as you are, to learn to be satisfied with yourself as you are. And when that work is done, you no longer lament, you no longer regret missed opportunities. Okay, bye.